Hey guys, tonight we're traveling back to a gentler time, to a quaint town in the 1800s, where every movement was unhurried, and even waiting in line held its own quiet charm. Imagine cobblestone streets, the soft glow of gaslights, and the soothing rhythm of old-world routines. You might think that waiting around without a phone would drive anyone a little crazy, but trust me, you'd probably find it strangely peaceful. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And while you settle in, why not share in the comments where you're retuning in from and what time it is in your little corner of the world. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You find yourself standing in the town square, the very heart of the community. Around you, footsteps blend softly with the gentle clatter of wooden carts and the occasional neigh of a distant horse. The early evening air carries a subtle chill, mixed with the fresh scent of cut wood and a faint floral hint, perhaps from a nearby window box. The square stretches wide before you, its uneven stones smoothed by decades of slow, careful footsteps. The buildings lean slightly, as if nodding in quiet agreement with the unhurried pace of life here. To your left, a large tree spreads its wide branches over an old stone well. The leaves whisper softly in the mild breeze, adding to the calm atmosphere. You might wonder how anything ever got done when everything moved so slowly. But here, every moment offers a chance to pause and observe. Townsfolk drift through the square, their movements steady and unhurried, yet purposeful. Men in wool vests tip their hats with gentle smiles, while women adjust their skirts as they carry full woven baskets. Children's laughter bubbles in the distance, floating on the breeze like a wordless song. You feel you could stand here forever, simply watching the world turn at its own peaceful pace. Near the well, a small group of people gather quietly. They aren't standing in a strict line yet, more like a loose cluster, each face calm and patient. Their eyes rest on the pulley system above the well, where a simple bucket waits silently. The wooden lever, worn smooth by years of use, feels like an old, trusted friend. You might think waiting in such a crowd would be boring, but there's a gentle rhythm here, like a soft lullaby the town sings every day. Waiting isn't just a pause, it's a part of life's slow dance. You notice an elderly man wearing a flat cap, gently tapping his cane on the cobblestones. He doesn't hurry or grumble. Instead, he hums a quiet tune, familiar yet mysterious, like a comforting memory. Nearby, a young woman adjusts her shawl, her gaze lowered, lost in thought, or perhaps in the play of shadows from the gas lamps. The well's water reflects the golden light softly, inviting you to take a deep breath and slow your heartbeat. There's something quietly poetic about this scene. Time seems to fold gently back on itself, as if past and present are sharing whispered secrets. The well, the tree, and the gathering hold more than water. Here, people share kindness, patience, and the gentle art of waiting without rush. Historians often note that these moments were as important as the tasks themselves. They created spaces where patience grew and connections quietly blossomed. You see a small boy step forward carefully to draw water. His movements are slow and deliberate, like part of a familiar dance. Nearby, his mother watches with a soft smile. Though this ritual has happened many times, each moment feels fresh, alive with quiet meaning. The boy's fingers grip the rough rope, lowering the bucket into the well. The water ripples softly, catching the lamplight as the bucket is pulled up. Someone nearby lets out a gentle sigh, not from impatience, but shared understanding. Everyone here values this slow, peaceful moment. Standing in the square, you realize this waiting is unlike anything in today's fast world. There's no pushing, no restless tapping, no anxious glances at clocks. Instead, there's calm acceptance, a patient embrace of the present. You might chuckle softly, imagining how many modern people would lose their minds waiting like this. You sure wouldn't survive a day here without a smartphone, you think, but maybe, just maybe, you'd learn to love the quiet. The gas lamps flicker softly, their gentle light casting dancing shadows on the weathered shop windows nearby. The painted signs sway slowly in the evening breeze, their once bright gold leaf now faded and worn with time. Through the glass, you glimpse the bakery's warm display fresh loaves of bread waiting to be pulled from the oven, filling the air with a scent that promises comfort and home. Nearby, a dog curls up beside a wooden bench, its eyes half closed in that peaceful rest that comes from knowing all is well in the world. If you listen closely, you can hear the quiet symphony of the town square. The soft clang of a blacksmith's hammer blends gently with the murmur of voices, flowing together like a calm, soothing stream. Above, leaves rustle softly in the mild breeze. These sounds weave into a peaceful backdrop, more like a lullaby than noise. In this moment, time feels suspended between past and present, and you can almost sense the slow, steady heartbeat of the town itself. Historians still debate how waiting first became a shared ritual in places like this. Some think it grew naturally from daily needs, while others believe it came from a collective respect for order and patience. Either way, these quiet moments speak of a time when life was measured not by speed, but by the quality of each breath and glance. You breathe in the cool evening air deeply, smiling softly to yourself. This simple gathering by the well is more than a chore, it's a coming together of souls. A gentle reminder that waiting can be an act of kindness toward others and oneself. As the gaslights flicker and shadows lengthen, you stay part of this quiet dance. Outside, the world rushes and roars, but here, in this small 1800s town, time bends gently. Waiting is no burden, it is a gift wrapped in stillness and soft smiles. Perhaps, in this peaceful moment, you found calm for your soul. The first light of dawn gently stretches across the quiet town, casting a soft rosy glow over the cobblestone streets. The morning air is cool and fresh, carrying the delicate scent of dew-covered earth and damp leaves. You step lightly onto the stones, noticing how the mist clings softly to cracks and crevices, blurring the edges of the world like a watercolor just waking from sleep. The whole town breathes in a slow, calm rhythm, as if time itself has paused before the day begins. As you walk toward the center, a few townsfolk have already begun to stir. A woman, her hair tucked beneath a faded bonnet, moves slowly down the street, carrying a woven basket filled with small bundles of herbs wrapped gently in cloth. You almost hear the soft rustle of fabric and the gentle thump of her footsteps on the stones. She stops by a window box, bursting with early blooms, tiny bluebells, and pale daisies, touching a petal lightly before moving on. It's a simple moment, full of quiet grace, as if the day's promises are whispered softly into the cool air. Nearby, a baker stokes the fire in his brick oven. The faint crackle and pop of flames awaken, sending warm golden light flickering across the stone walls of his shop. The smell of wood smoke mixes with the rich scent of dough rising. You imagine the comforting warmth soon spilling from the bakery's open door, inviting townsfolk to gather and share bread fresh from the oven, a gentle start to the day. Children, their faces still sleepy but eager, begin to appear near the schoolhouse. Their footsteps are softer, careful not to disturb the delicate quiet that blankets the morning. Some clutch books tightly to their chests. Others trail behind older siblings or friends, their voices little more than whispers carried on the breeze. Their laughter is still tucked away, waiting for the right moment to bubble up and fill the streets with playful energy. You notice the light shifting, the pale hues of dawn slowly giving way to warmer shades of gold and amber. The sun's rays peek over the rooftops, reaching down like gentle fingers to touch the leaves on the trees, the worn edges of shutters, and the smooth stone of the well at the town center. The well itself stands quietly, its wooden frame sturdy and familiar. the pulley ready for the day's first drawing of water. You sense the anticipation in the air, not impatience, but a shared understanding that the day will unfold slowly, with care and attention. Around you, the sounds of the town begin to stir softly. A blacksmith's hammer taps steadily in the distance, a rhythmic echo that blends with the chirping of early birds perched on the branches overhead. The faint murmur of conversation drifts from open windows where neighbors exchange quiet greetings or news of the day ahead. Even the breeze seems to join in, rustling leaves gently and carrying the mixed scents of fresh bread, blooming flowers, and damp earth. The townspeople themselves move with a gentle purpose. Men in simple woolen vests adjust their hats as they step out of their homes, nodding politely to neighbors they pass. Women in long dresses, their hands busy with baskets or bundles, walk slowly toward the well or the market, their steps unhurried but certain. There is no rush here, no jarring interruptions or hurried footsteps clacking loudly against stone. Instead, each movement feels like part of a carefully choreographed dance, where patience is the music and kindness the rhythm. As you watch, an older man pauses near the well, leaning slightly on his cane. He surveys the scene with soft eyes that seem to hold stories of many gentle mornings like this one. With a slight nod, he acknowledges a young mother who is helping her child balance a small bucket. Their exchange is wordless, filled with the kind of understanding that comes from living closely alongside one another through quiet routines and shared spaces. You feel yourself breathing more slowly, your heartbeat sensing with the calm pulse of this morning. The usual noise of worry or distraction feels far away here, replaced by a soft sense of belonging. It's easy to imagine the world beyond this small town, bustling and hurried. But within these cobblestone streets, life moves at a pace that invites you to slow down and savor each moment. Perhaps the most striking thing about this gentle morning is how waiting seems woven into everything. The wait for bread to bake, the wait for the well to fill, the wait for a friend's greeting, or a child's small hand to find yours. There is no frustration, only acceptance, a quiet appreciation that some things cannot be rushed without losing their meaning. Historians still reflect on how these slow rituals formed the backbone of daily life in towns like this. They were not merely about passing time, but about creating spaces where connection and patience could flourish. Each morning was a small ceremony, a moment to reset and prepare, both physically and spiritually, for the day ahead. You might smile quietly to yourself, imagining how this unhurried way of living might seem strange to the modern eye. Yet there is a timeless wisdom here, a lesson in how slowing down can open the heart and sharpen the senses. The world may spin fast outside this town, but here, in the soft glow of morning light, you find a sanctuary, a place where time's gentle hands cradle you and invite you to rest. As the morning sun climbs higher, the town slowly awakens fully. More people emerge from their homes. Voices grow a little louder, and the rhythm of daily life begins to take shape. But even as the day gains momentum, the slow, steady heart of the town remains the well, the tree, the streets lined with familiar faces and quiet smiles. And so you linger here a little longer, savoring the peaceful moments before the day moves on. Each breath you take feels deeper, richer, filled with the simple joy of being present. The morning unfolds gently around you, a soft embrace that promises calm and renewal. With a final glance at the misty stones and the warming light, you step forward, ready to join in the unhurried flow of the day. The gentle morning is yours to carry a quiet gift, wrapped in slow footsteps and whispered greetings, waiting patiently for the next breath of life. Near the old stone well, a small group begins to gather quietly as the morning unfolds. They do not yet form a strict, orderly line, but rather a loose cluster of calm figures, standing close enough to feel one another's presence without crowding or fuss. Each person's face carries a quiet patience, their eyes gently drawn toward the pulley system hanging from the wooden lever above the well's edge. The simple bucket sways softly, moved slightly by the mild morning breeze. The wood of the lever is worn smooth by countless hands over many years, a steadfast companion to the daily rhythm of this gentle town. You might expect that standing in such a group, waiting your turn, could feel tedious or restless. Yet here, there is a natural rhythm to the moment, like a lullaby whispered quietly by the town itself. Waiting is not merely a delay to be endured. It is a ritual woven into the fabric of everyday life. It is a shared moment, a silent conversation filled with unspoken understanding and respect between neighbors, a reminder that time can move slowly, yet meaningfully. An elderly man in a flat cap taps his cane lightly against the cobblestones beneath his feet. His movements are slow and deliberate, matching the unhurried pace of the gathering. He hums softly, a melody you cannot quite place, but feel deep in your bones. Something ancient, comforting, like a worn quilt wrapped gently around your shoulders on a cool evening. Nearby, a young woman adjusts the shawl draped over her shoulders, her eyes cast downward, perhaps lost in thought or simply observing the soft dance of shadows cast by the flickering gas lamps nearby. The water in the well reflects the faint golden glow of the morning light, shimmering softly as if inviting you to pause, to draw a slow, deep breath, and to slow your own heartbeat. This quiet scene holds a certain poetry, a moment when time seems to fold gently back on itself, where past and present meet in a shared space of patience and calm. Somewhere in the background, you might hear the distant clatter of wooden carts on cobblestones, or the faint murmur of voices drifting from nearby homes. The smells of fresh earth and damp wood mingle with the subtle scent of herbs tucked into cloth bundles, carried by a woman who has just arrived to wait her turn. The sounds and smells blend seamlessly, creating a calming atmosphere where time feels both suspended and deeply felt. Historians still debate how the practice of waiting in line first took shape in towns like this one. Some say it grew naturally from the everyday necessities of life, as people realized the need for order in shared resources like water. Others believe it emerged from a collective respect for order and kindness, social agreement that preserved harmony and dignity even in moments of delay. Regardless of its origins, the unspoken agreement that governs this quiet gathering carries a grace all its own, a grace born from countless shared mornings like this one, when people learn that patience is not simply enduring time but embracing it. You watch quietly as a man steps forward with care, his movements calm and unhurried. His hands grasp the rough rope, lowering the bucket slowly into the depths of the well. The rope creaks softly under the weight of the water, the sound delicate and steady, like a whispered secret shared between the town and its people. As the bucket fills, the group standing nearby shifts together in a subtle, harmonious rhythm, each person aware of the other, moving in a gentle dance of give and take. There is no rush here, no jostling or cutting in line. Instead, a quiet, mutual respect fills the space, making the waiting itself feel less like a delay and more like an integral part of the day's natural flow. You notice the neighbors exchanging small nods, brief glances, and soft smiles. It's a silent communication, a shared understanding that waiting is not merely about standing still. It is an opportunity to connect, even without words. In these moments, patience blooms into kindness, and the simple act of standing together creates a gentle bond, binding the community in a calm and unspoken friendship. In today's fast-paced world, you might think that moments like this are rare treasures, almost forgotten in the rush of modern life. Impatience often rules, with hurried steps and anxious glances at ticking clocks. But here, in this small town, waiting is an art, a slow, thoughtful practice that still lives in the daily rhythm of the people. As you become part of the group, a soft calm settles over you. The noise and rush of the outside world fade away, replaced by the gentle pulse of this peaceful moment. The sun climbs higher in the sky, casting long, shifting shadows that crawl slowly across the well's worn stones. Around you, the town's morning life continues in a quiet, soothing symphony. A bird's delicate song floats on the breeze. The distant creak of a wagon wheel echoes softly down the street, and the gentle murmur of wind rustles through the leaves above. Outside this small gathering, the world beyond these stones may roar and rush, but here, time bends gently. It folds in on itself, slow and steady, like the turning of a well-loved book's pages. Waiting here becomes more than just passing time. It transforms into a gift wrapped in stillness and quiet smiles. Each breath you take draws you deeper into the calm rhythm of the town, a rhythm that invites you to slow down and simply be present. You realize that this simple act, waiting by a well with neighbors, is a meditation in patience, kindness, and shared humanity. And perhaps, in this soft, unfolding moment, a quiet smile finds its way to your lips. You understand that the world outside may race on, but here, in this small, gentle town, time is a patient friend. Waiting is not a burden, but a tender, unhurried dance that connects all who gather by the well, binding them together in a shared embrace of calm and quiet grace. Before the gentle lines by the well became the familiar sight they are today, the scene was quite different, an unordered gathering, a dance of many steps and shifting spaces. People arrived without forming a strict sequence, moving with the freedom of instinct rather than any agreed rule. It was a time when waiting had no defined order, no cue to fall into. The well's edge was a lively place, filled with soft murmurs, the shuffle of feet, the clinking of metal buckets, and the occasional raised voice. It was less a line and more of a free-form crowd, full of the gentle chaos and quiet humor that such moments bring. You might imagine this scene as a gentle, unpredictable choreography. People moved forward when they felt it was their moment, weaving through the gathering, careful not to spill the precious water in their buckets. Sometimes a sudden nudge or accidental bump would send a splash flying, drawing a brief flurry of surprised gasps or polite apologies into the air. There was no hurry, but there was also no clear order. Each person acted on their own sense of timing, guided by a blend of patience and quiet determination to draw water and return home. The sounds here were rich and varied. Without a neat line, there was a soft rustling of coats brushing together, the rhythmic clinking of metal buckets shifting on cobblestones, and the shuffle of feet finding spots to stand or move closer. Voices blended into a warm hum, some low and thoughtful, others quick and lively, forming a comforting tapestry of community life. You might catch the end of a story being told in soft tones, or hear a light-hearted joke shared to ease the weight. This was a world untouched by the impatience of ticking clocks or buzzing devices, only the rhythm of human presence mingling with the natural sounds of the day. People would quietly nudge their way forward when they judged the moment right, and yet there was no anger or frustration. The gathering held a balance between gentle assertiveness and respect. It was a dance where everyone knew the steps, even if they weren't written down. The uneven stones beneath their feet had felt these movements for years, worn smooth by the steady passage of countless townsfolk who had come to draw water. This early way of waiting was imperfect in many ways, but it was also full of life. You might smile to yourself, imagining how this scene would unfold today, a group of people trying to draw water without a clear order in a world ruled by schedules and impatience. What might feel chaotic to us was, for them, simply the natural flow of daily life, a blend of spontaneity and tradition. Historians still debate exactly how this unordered way of waiting eventually evolved into the more orderly cues we recognize now. Some suggest the change happened gradually as towns grew larger and people saw the practical need for fairness and efficiency. Others believe the shift arose from a growing sense of community respect, a silent, unspoken agreement to honor one another's time and space. Regardless of how it began, this transformation marked a subtle yet profound change in how people related to waiting itself. Standing in line became not just a necessity, but a gentle ritual, a symbol of mutual kindness and shared understanding. The earlier days by the well were marked by a kind of wild charm. Without strict order, there was room for small moments of unpredictability, an accidental splash, a whispered story, a shared smile that spoke of human connection. The atmosphere held a warmth all its own, a tender dance between patience and spontaneity. Though waiting was more chaotic, it was deeply human and connected. Nearby, you might hear the soft voices of children weaving among the adults, their laughter like bright notes floating through the air. Sometimes a playful shove or a whispered secret passed between young ones, reminding everyone that life continued in all its simple joys. These small interactions, set against the backdrop of the unordered crowd, created a living scene, a snapshot of a community bound together by daily necessity and shared moments. As you stand by the well, observing the quiet movements of the people around you, you sense the slow unfolding of history beneath your feet. The worn stones have been touched by generations, each step a note in the story of the town's evolving life. The water drawn here has quenched more than thirst. It has nurtured bonds between neighbors and the steady rhythm of shared days. In this unordered waiting, you see a reflection of life itself, imperfect, unpolished, and full of small, beautiful connections. Waiting is not merely a pause or inconvenience. It is a space rich with possibility. Time stretches and folds, creating moments where human kindness and patience quietly grow. The story of waiting by the well is a story of community resilience and the gentle art of being present with one another. As the morning deepens and the sun rises higher, the crowd gradually thins. People step away with their filled buckets, ready to face the day ahead. Yet the echoes of that unordered gathering linger, a reminder that before lines were drawn and rules set, waiting was a shared experience, messy and alive. You might chuckle softly, imagining how the well's edge once looked a mosaic of faces, movements, and sounds, all blending together in a delicate dance of everyday life. In that scene, waiting was not a chore, but a moment to belong. It was imperfect, yes, but full of warmth and connection. And as you turn away from the well and step back onto the cobblestones, you carry with you a quiet understanding that waiting, in all its forms, holds a special place in the rhythm of life. It teaches patience, invites kindness, and creates space for the slow, steady weaving of community. This unordered past, with its gentle chaos and human touch, reminds us that even in waiting, we are never truly alone. In the early mornings by the town's well, the sounds rise softly, like a gentle chorus shouts, rustles, footsteps, and voices weaving together into a familiar melody. This was a time when waiting carried its own soundtrack, an unhurried blend of life's quiet noises mingling with the pulse of community. The air carries the murmur of neighbors greeting each other, the shuffle of feet against worn stones, and the occasional clatter of wooden buckets being set down or lifted up. It's a symphony not of chaos, but of gentle movement and soft exchanges. As you stand nearby, you might hear a man's voice calling out a familiar name, a warm greeting tossed lightly into the morning air. "Mary, is that you by the elm?" The answer comes with a soft laugh, a voice rising just enough to carry over the murmurs. "Yes, Thomas, just coming from the bakery." These simple calls bridge distance and time, knitting the people closer even before the water is drawn. It's a way of marking presence, a subtle reminder that waiting together also means being together. Among the crowd, the rustling of fabric adds texture to the soundscape. Shawls are adjusted, skirts brush cobblestones, and hats tilt with careful gestures. The gentle swish of a woman's dress accompanies her slow steps as she moves closer to the well, the fabric whispering softly like a breeze through leaves. Nearby, children's shoes tap rhythmically as they dart between adults, their light footsteps punctuating the morning's quiet with bursts of lively energy. A wooden bucket falls with a hollow thud onto the stone pavement, sending a small cloud of dust and pebbles scattering. There's a brief silence, followed by a burst of soft laughter, not harsh or sharp, but warm and familiar. It's a small moment of levity, a shared smile among neighbors that softens the weight. The community seems to understand that patience does not mean solemnity. Even in waiting, life carries its gentle humor. You might catch the faint clinking of metal rings on a man's belt as he shifts his stance, or the scrape of wooden shoes against stone as an elderly woman moves to a better spot. These sounds are part of the rhythm, each contributing a note to the daily melody that soothes rather than stirs. The voices do not shout in anger or frustration, but rise and fall like waves, a natural ebb and flow that keeps the scene alive and connected. Historically, moments like these were far more than simple pauses in the day. They were the very threads weaving together the fabric of communal life. In an era before digital distractions, before the constant ping of messages and the endless flow of information, these shared sounds and small exchanges carry immense importance. They were the invisible glue binding neighbors and strangers alike, nurturing a deep sense of belonging and continuity. As people waited quietly for their turn at the well, they were also participating in a ritual of connection. Some historians point out that these auditory textures, those soft murmurs, occasional laughter, the clinking of buckets, shaped the very character of towns and villages. Each community had its own unique soundscape, a living soundtrack that residents carried in their hearts and memories long after they had left, a gentle echo of togetherness that lingered in the mind. The well itself stood as a silent, steadfast witness to these moments. Its stones, worn smooth over decades by countless hands and feet, seemed to absorb the sounds and stories whispered around it. You might imagine the well holding the echoes of innumerable conversations, quiet exchanges, joyful greetings, soft laughter mingling with the splash of water and the creak of wooden levers. It was more than just a source of water. It was the gathering place where the rhythms of daily life unfolded naturally. Here, patience was practiced, community was built, and the simple act of waiting became an opportunity for connection. Occasionally, a voice would rise just a little higher, a friendly call to remind someone their turn had come, or a light-hearted question about the taste of that morning's bread. These small interactions sprinkled throughout the waiting, weaving a delicate tapestry of human connection. You get the sense that waiting here was never truly silent. Instead, it carried a kind of music, the music of togetherness, a melody that warmly welcomed all who gathered, a soft harmony composed of shared time and understanding. You might smile softly to yourself, imagining how different this experience is from today's hurried waits. Modern lines are often filled with the buzzing of smartphones, impatient sighs, and restless glances at the clock. Yet here, in this slower world, the soundscape was alive with life and genuine connection. It serves as a gentle reminder that waiting does not have to be a frustrating or lonely experience. Instead, it can be a shared moment, even a joyful one, rich with kindness, patience, and a quiet grace that comes from simply being present with others. As the morning stretches on, the chorus of voices and sounds gradually shifts and changes. Some neighbors move away with buckets now full, their footsteps lighter and more purposeful as they return to their homes and daily tasks. Others take their place in the gentle flow of life around the well, stepping forward with quiet anticipation. The shouts and rustling continue like a living thread, seamlessly linking past to present. It's a reminder that in the soft murmur of a waiting crowd, there is warmth, community, and a rhythm all its own, a rhythm that carries the soul of the town forward, moment by moment. In this moment, waiting is no longer just a pause or a minor annoyance. It gently unfolds into a quiet embrace of time itself. Voices rise and fall softly, like a gentle hymn, turning the simple act of standing together into a serene celebration of life. The time spent at the well reveals a deeper truth. Waiting, when shared and slowed, holds a unique and beautiful meaning. It becomes a lesson in patience and kindness, a reminder of our human ability to connect beyond the hurried pace of modern life. Here, waiting transforms into a peaceful rhythm that nourishes the soul and binds the community in gentle harmony. There comes a moment, subtle and unassuming, when the way people wait begins to shift. It is not marked by loud announcements or sudden rules, but by a quiet understanding growing within the crowd. One morning, someone steps back a little, creating space where before there was none. Another follows, and soon a pattern begins to form, not a strict line, but a gentle flow of people standing in a soft, measured sequence. This is the turning point, the moment when waiting becomes not just a necessity, but a shared ritual, an act of quiet respect among neighbors. You stand there and watch this delicate change unfold. The early sun filters through the leaves, casting dappled light that dances slowly across the cobblestones. The air holds a cool freshness, mixed with the faint scent of earth and morning dew. Around you, people move with newfound ease, as if they have discovered a new way to honor each other's time. The man near the well, who once jostled slightly for a better spot, now steps back to let his neighbor draw water first. No words are needed. This shift in behavior is understood by all. It is a subtle dance of empathy and patience. The crowd no longer feels like a chaotic jumble, but rather a gentle stream, flowing smoothly in its own quiet rhythm. You might think this change was simple or immediate, but historians still debate how exactly this culture of waiting first took root. Some say it grew naturally as townsfolk realized the benefits of order and calm. Others believe it was inspired by an unspoken agreement to treat one another with kindness. Whatever the origin, what emerges is a ritual that transforms waiting into an active connection. You notice the details, the soft shuffle of feet finding their place, the occasional nod exchanged between neighbors, the way the morning light catches on faces turned patiently forward. A woman straightens her shawl, and a young boy mimics her calm stance. The well itself seems to breathe alongside them, its cool stone steady and reliable beneath the hands of many. This collective stillness feels like a silent song, a meditation in motion that ties the community together in a shared moment of grace. As the line settles into this rhythm, conversations spark gently low and kind. A neighbor comments on the freshness of the morning air. Another offers a quiet compliment on a well-worn hat or a sturdy basket. These small exchanges are like notes in a soft melody, each one adding warmth to the waiting. Here, waiting is no longer a passive act, but a living practice of mindfulness, teaching those who partake to slow down, to observe, and to appreciate the simple presence of others. You might find yourself breathing a little slower, feeling the tension in your shoulders ease as you become part of this gentle ritual. The world beyond the town square, with its clamor and haste, seems far away. Instead, you are drawn into a timeless rhythm, one where patience is honored and time unfolds at its own measured pace. The quiet companionship of the line offers a refuge, a place where each person's moment is respected and shared. There is a softness in this transformation, like a whispered promise that waiting can be something more than frustration. It becomes a chance to practice kindness to oneself, to others, and to the passing of time itself. You see how this change in waiting shifts the atmosphere from tension to tranquility. The line is no longer just a practical necessity, but a gentle gathering, a dance of respect that strengthens the bonds between people. Historians still reflect on how this subtle shift influenced broader social customs. Some suggest it helped lay the groundwork for modern ideas about patience, civility, and order in public life. Others argue that it reminds us that many of the customs we take for granted today had humble human beginnings, like this small moments of shared understanding in everyday life. Whether by necessity or choice, the emerging culture of waiting shaped the way communities related to time and to each other. The town square feels different now, more settled and serene. You watch as the line moves forward steadily, each person stepping up in turn with calm assurance. The bucket dips into the well, the rope creaks gently, and water is drawn in a smooth, unhurried motion. No one hurries or jostles. Everyone waits their turn with quiet dignity. You sense a deep respect flowing through the group, a collective acknowledgement that patience is a gift offered freely and gratefully. The morning sun climbs higher, casting soft golden light across faces and cobblestones alike. Shadows stretch long but move slowly, keeping pace with the gentle rhythm of the line. You hear the occasional murmur, a shared smile, a soft chuckle, the light tapping of footsteps finding their place. This is a new way of waiting, one that feels like a balm for the restless spirit. Here, in this moment, waiting is not a burden, but a shared experience, a quiet ceremony that brings people together in peaceful harmony. You might even catch yourself imagining how rare such moments are in the modern world, where waiting is often met with frustration and haste. Here, patience is a form of kindness, a deliberate slowing down that honors the lives of those around you. The turning point in the waiting habit is a gentle revolution, quietly changing how people relate to time and to each other. It teaches that even the simplest moments can be filled with grace and meaning. As the line continues to move forward, you feel a sense of calm settle deep within you. The practice of waiting, once an annoyance or a chore, has become something more, a meditation on presence, a shared rhythm that unites a community. In this quiet transformation, you find a lesson that transcends centuries, reminding us all of the power in slowing down, in being patient, and in standing together with kindness. And so, you stay a little longer, breathing in the soft morning light, feeling the gentle pulse of the town around you. This turning point in the waiting habit is not just a historical moment. It is a living practice, one that continues to inspire and comfort. Waiting, when embraced with grace and respect, becomes a gift, a quiet dance that welcomes all who take part, a reminder that sometimes the slowest moments hold the greatest beauty. The morning sunlight filters gently through the rustling leaves overhead, casting soft dappled shadows on the cobblestones beneath your feet. As you stand by the well, you notice the small group that gathered just moments ago beginning to shift and change. The loose cluster of figures gradually transforms into something more structured, a line. This isn't a hurried, impatient queue, but rather a slow, deliberate procession shaped by an unspoken understanding that flows quietly between neighbors. Each person steps back just enough to give the one in front room to breathe, creating a subtle rhythm of movement. Shoulders brush softly against the hems of worn coats and shawls, a delicate touch that feels warm and reassuring rather than intrusive. It's like a slow dance choreographed by time itself, where every small motion holds meaning. The gentle shuffle of feet on the stones, the quiet settling of weight from one foot to the other, these sounds become a soothing cadence, as natural and calming as the flow of a river. You observe an elderly woman ahead, adjusting her bonnet with careful, practiced hands. Her movements speak of countless mornings spent waiting here, her experience woven into every small gesture. A few places ahead, a younger man offers her a faint, respectful smile, and she returns it with a soft nod. The brief exchange speaks volumes without words, an unspoken acknowledgement of shared presence, a bond forged in the simple act of standing together. This line is more than just a waiting place. It's a living fabric of community, stitched together by patience, kindness, and quiet respect. The transformation from a disorderly crowd into this graceful ritual is a subtle one. Historians debate exactly how and when people first began to stand in line as a form of social order. Some believe it emerged naturally as towns grew, a practical solution to keep peace and fairness as more neighbors sought their turn. Others suggest it arose from a deeper sense of empathy and respect, an understanding that waiting patiently for one another is a gesture of kindness and shared humanity. Whatever the origin, this ritual took on a life of its own, turning waiting from a possible source of irritation into a moment of calm dignity. You find yourself becoming part of this unfolding ritual. As you take your place in line, you notice your breath slowing, your thoughts settling into the unhurried rhythm of the group. The bustling world outside, people rushing with errands, horses trotting down distant streets, the clatter of carts fades into the background, replaced by a serene stillness that holds you gently. Time seems to stretch, as if every heartbeat lingers just a little longer, inviting you to savor the quiet. The morning sun rises steadily, its light shifting softly as it climbs higher in the sky. Golden rays play upon the worn stones underfoot, illuminating the dust motes that dance lazily in the air. The faint scent of freshly baked bread drifts from a nearby bakery, mingling with the herbal fragrance carried by a gentle breeze. A bird's song weaves through the murmur of voices, adding a natural melody to the peaceful atmosphere. Each sound blends seamlessly into the next, composing a symphony of small moments that cradle the line in gentle harmony. You might catch yourself smiling softly at how different this is from waiting in today's fast-paced world, where impatience often leads to tapping feet, sighs, and distracted glances at phones. Here, standing in line is an act of mindfulness. It becomes a deliberate practice of patience and respect, a shared moment that fosters connection instead of frustration. The slow rhythm of the line invites you to be fully present, to notice the warmth of the sun on your skin, the soft weight of your coat, the gentle breaths of the neighbors beside you. As the person at the front reaches the well, you hear the familiar creak of the wooden lever as the bucket lowers and fills with cool water. The rope is steady groan, and the splash as the bucket rises create a subtle soundtrack for the ritual. The line shifts smoothly forward, a quiet wave of motion that ripples through the waiting crowd. This slow, shared movement feels like a dance, each step deliberate, each gesture full of meaning. Within the line, small moments of connection bloom like wildflowers. A child tugs gently at their mother's sleeve, prompting a soft laugh that ripples quietly down the line. An older man offers a nod of encouragement to a young woman waiting behind him. You see eyes meet in fleeting glances, smiles exchanged without words. These tiny interactions weave a tapestry of kindness and belonging that holds the community together, a reminder that waiting is never truly solitary here. The ritual continues, steady and unhurried. It is a meditation on time itself, a way to honor the slow unfolding of the day and the bonds that grow when people gather simply to wait together. You feel the tension of modern life, its rush, its noise, its endless demands slip away, replaced by a profound stillness that fills you gently from within. Here, waiting is transformed into a gift, a chance to slow down, to breathe, to share space and time with others. In this quiet procession, you recognize a deeper rhythm of life, one that moves not with urgency, but with calm grace. The line becomes a living ceremony, a sacred pause in the day's hurry where respect, patience, and community intertwine. You feel grateful to be part of this gentle tradition, standing shoulder to shoulder with neighbors who share this moment of stillness. And so, as the morning unfolds softly around you, the ritual of standing in line at the well reveals itself as more than simple order. It is a quiet celebration of connection, a tender dance of humanity that stretches across generations. Here, in the soft embrace of the waiting line, you discover a rhythm that sustains and soothes, a rhythm that reminds you that sometimes the most meaningful moments come when we simply stand together and wait. Near the well, as the morning unfolds gently, the act of waiting weaves itself seamlessly into the town's quiet rhythm. What might seem to outsiders as a simple line or a momentary pause is here an art form, shared grace born from centuries of communal patience. The people who gather don't stand impatient or restless. Instead, they move with a calmness that feels like a soft breath, a quiet understanding passing silently from one to the next. Waiting is not a burden, but a shared ritual, a gentle pause that invites observation and connection. There is something deeply beautiful about the way this waiting shapes the Atmosphere, peaceful energy that spreads quietly through the air. The cluster of people forms a kind of living wall, each individual spaced comfortably so as not to crowd yet close enough to feel the warmth of shared presence. You notice the small details that others might miss. The moss clinging to the weathered stone wall nearby, its deep green soft against the pale bricks. A lone sparrow fluttering down to peck at crumbs near the edge of the square. The shifting light that plays on the cobblestones as the sun rises higher. These small moments, often overlooked in a rush, become gifts to those who wait patiently, unfolding slowly like the pages of a well-loved book. In this space, waiting becomes a practice of mindfulness, a chance to pause and notice the world in all its quiet beauty. People breathe slowly, their gazes drifting over familiar sights that change subtly with each passing minute. The leaves on the old trees sway gently, casting dappled shadows that move across the ground like living patterns. Someone hums a soft tune under their breath, blending with the distant clatter of carts and the murmur of neighbors greeting one another. The harmony of these sounds feels like a lullaby sung by the town itself, a melody of peace and steady calm. This unhurried rhythm is not accidental. It has grown over time, shaped by shared values of respect and kindness that bind the community together. Here, waiting is not about individual impatience, but about collective care. There is no pushing, no hurrying. Instead, each person trusts that their turn will come in its own time. And in the meantime, they stand together, quietly supporting one another through the simple act of presence. It is a form of grace, where the passing moments are held with dignity and warmth. As you watch the scene unfold, you sense that this kind of waiting does more than just keep order, it creates bonds. Conversations blossom naturally, soft smiles exchange, and small acts of kindness ripple through the crowd. A mother gently adjusts her child's coat. An elderly man shares a story with a neighbor, their laughter gentle and low. Someone offers a hand to steady a basket carried with care. These interactions, born out of the stillness of waiting, nurture a sense of belonging that is both unspoken and deeply felt. There is also a sacredness in this grace, a recognition that waiting together is a form of shared humanity. It teaches patience not as a struggle, but as a peaceful acceptance of life's pace. The crowd becomes a living tapestry, woven from the threads of countless individual stories and quiet moments. Each person contributes to this fabric simply by standing and breathing in the same space, connected by the invisible ties of respect and understanding. You might catch a glimpse of an older woman watching the sky with a serene expression, as if counting the passing clouds or tracing the slow drift of a bird in flight. Nearby, a young man leans lightly on the wooden lever, feeling its smoothness beneath his fingers, connecting him to the generations before him who have done the same. These small gestures carry the weight of history and the promise of continuity, a reminder that the present moment is part of an unbroken chain. The natural world itself seems to join in this grace. The soft rustling of leaves, the distant crow of a rooster, the faint scent of wildflowers carried on a gentle breeze, all create a sensory tapestry that enhances the sense of calm. It is as if the earth itself pauses alongside the townsfolk, inviting them to savor this unhurried communion. In a world that often values speed and efficiency above all, this town's quiet embrace of waiting feels almost revolutionary. It challenges the idea that productivity must always be urgent, offering instead a vision of life measured by moments of stillness and shared presence. Here, waiting is a gift of time to reconnect with the self, with others, and with the rhythms of nature. As the line slowly moves forward, there is a collective sigh of relief, not rushed but tender, as one person steps aside and another steps forward. The bucket descends again, the rope creaking softly, a familiar sound that anchors the moment. With each turn, the waiting continues steady and unhurried, a dance performed with grace by all who partake. You find yourself drawn into this rhythm, your own breath slowing, your mind quieting. The worries of the outside world fade away, replaced by a gentle focus on the present. You realize that in this shared stillness, something precious is unfolding, a silent teaching about the value of patience, the power of kindness, and the deep human need for connection. When your turn finally comes, you approach the well with a sense of calm gratitude. The water feels cool and clear as it fills the bucket, a simple blessing drawn from the earth. As you step back, you carry with you not only the water, but also a renewed understanding of waiting, not as a mere pause, but as a grace-filled moment that brings people together. The sun climbs higher now, casting warm light across the square and bathing the gathering in a golden glow. The town moves forward, but the lesson of this morning remains a quiet invitation to embrace waiting as a shared gift, to find peace in stillness, and to celebrate the gentle art of being present together. As the afternoon wanes and shadows stretch longer across the town's narrow streets, a different kind of line begins to form, not at the well, but outside the apothecary's quaint little shop. The air here carries a blend of earthy aromas, dried herbs, crushed leaves, and the faint, comforting scent of beeswax. A row of flickering candles illuminates the shop's darkened window, their gentle glow casting warm, dancing patterns onto the cobblestones and brick walls. It is under this soft, golden candlelight that the townsfolk gather, their movements slower, their voices quieter, as if the fading day has coaxed them into a more reflective mood. The apothecary is a place of quiet mystery and gentle healing, a sanctuary where nature's remedies meet human care. Shelves lined with delicate glass bottles and jars, filled with tinctures, dried petals, and powdered roots catch the flickering candlelight, creating a kaleidoscope of color and shadow. Each vessel seems to hold a story, a secret whispered. Through generations, potions to soothe aching muscles, teas to calm restless nights, balms to heal cracked skin. Here, waiting takes on a different rhythm, one that is not just about order, but reverence. The people who queue do so with a sense of anticipation, a quiet hope that what they seek will bring relief or comfort. You notice a woman near the front of the line, her hands folded calmly in her lap, her eyes tracing the candle flames as if drawing strength from their flicker. She waits patiently for a pouch of mint leaves, an old remedy for digestion, passed down by her grandmother. Behind her, a man stands with a thoughtful expression, waiting for a bottle of tincture made from lavender and valerian, hoping to soothe the insomnia that has troubled him for weeks. Further back, a young mother gently rocks her child, whose eyes are wide with curiosity at the shifting light and the hushed voices. There is a sense of reverence in the quiet movements of the people here. No one rushes, no one pushes forward. The line itself seems to pulse gently with the soft flicker of candlelight and the murmur of low voices. Each person carries their own story of need or hope, yet all are bound together by the shared ritual of waiting under the watchful glow of those tiny flames. It is a moment suspended between the bustle of daily life and the serene promise of healing. The apothecary's door opens occasionally, releasing a subtle waft of warm air scented with herbs and honey. Inside, the apothecary himself moves deliberately. Among the shelves, his hands, steady and sure, reach for jars and bottles, selecting carefully the remedies requested. The flickering candles catch the silver of his spectacles and the creases around his thoughtful eyes. When he steps outside to hand over the prepared sachets or tinctures, his voice is soft but clear, sharing advice with kindness and patience. Crowd listens intently, nodding or murmuring thanks, the words weaving a subtle connection between healer and patient, between the old traditions and the present moment. Each exchange is a quiet ceremony, honoring the trust placed in these natural remedies and the wisdom that guides their use. Waiting here is not merely about receiving a product, but participating in a shared understanding of care and compassion. The glow from the candles, reflects on the glass bottles lining the shelves, transforming the apothecary into a place of quiet. Magic. The light flickers and dances like tiny stars caught in amber, each flame a small beacon of hope and comfort. Outside, the twilight deepens, wrapping the town in a gentle hush, as if the world itself pauses to listen to the whispered stories. Carried on the breath of the evening air. You find yourself drawn into the softness of this moment. The mingling. Sense the gentle flicker of light, the patient stillness of the waiting crowd. There is a calm dignity in the way people stand together, their silence not empty, but filled with meaning. It is a lesson in the beauty of slowing down, in the grace of shared vulnerability, and in the strength found in community. Children nearby watch the flames with wide eyes, their faces aglow with wonder. A soft laugh escapes a mother's lips as she whispers a comforting word to her child, the sound blending with the murmur of the line. The apothecary's assistant moves quietly among the crowd, offering small smiles and gentle reassurances. Here, waiting becomes an act of faith, not just in the remedies sought, but in the bonds formed by gathering together in the gentle twilight. As the evening deepens and shadows lengthen, the gentle candlelight within the apothecary's window seems to glow ever brighter against the encroaching darkness outside. Each flickering flame becomes a beacon of hope, steady and unwavering, reflecting the calm patience of the townsfolk gathered in quiet reverence. One by one, the people at the front of the line step forward to receive their small parcels of healing carefully. Wrapped bundles of delicate leaves, fragrant powders, and soothing salves. Each exchange is marked by a quiet gratitude, a subtle nod or soft smile shared between the giver and receiver, as if acknowledging the deeper connection woven through this simple act. The line shifts slowly, moving with a gentle rhythm that mirrors the steady heartbeat of the town itself. This ritual, both ancient and timeless, creates a sacred space where the relentless pace of life softens and slows, honoring the profound and often overlooked beauty in waiting together. It is here, beneath the warm glow of candlelight, that waiting transcends mere patience. It becomes a shared experience of presence, kindness, and community. The soft breaths of those gathered mingle with the flickering light, creating a collective warmth that transcends the physical space. As you quietly step back, allowing others to move forward, a calm sense of connection settles within you. Memory of the candlelight's gentle dance stays with you, a lasting impression of the apothecary's quiet magic and tender care. This humble shop is more than just a place of remedies. It is a testament to the healing power found not only in the natural cures themselves, but in the slow, shared journey of waiting together, enveloped by the soothing glow of a candlelit evening. The heavy wooden door of the letter room creaks softly as you push it open, stepping inside the hushed sanctuary. The air is thick with the scent of aged paper, a faint hint of beeswax sealing countless envelopes over the years. The walls are lined with brass mail slots, each carefully labeled with the names of townsfolk, farmers, merchants, school teachers, and wanderers who send their thoughts and news across distances. These slots are not merely compartments. They are repositories of stories, connections, and moments frozen in ink and folded paper. A quiet procession begins to form along the worn floorboards as the townspeople gather to collect their letters. There is no hurry here, only the calm patience of a community bound together by ritual and respect. The line moves slowly, a measured flow like the gentle passage of a stream, each person waiting for their name to be called by the postmaster, who stands behind a polished wooden counter cluttered with stamps, quills, and sealing wax. His presence is steady, familiar. He is both keeper of messages and guardian of this sacred space, where time seems to stretch and soften out as you join the line. You notice the subtle gestures that speak volumes about the shared experience. Hands are folded neatly or clasped loosely in front, eyes often lowered in quiet anticipation. Some individuals glance briefly toward the shelves where letters lie waiting, their edges soft from handling, their colors faded by years of sunlight and shadow. The air is heavy with unspoken stories of longing, joy, worry, and hope. Here, waiting is not an inconvenience, but a meaningful pause, moment to honor the weight of words that bridge hearts and homes. The postmaster's voice breaks the silence gently, calling out names with a cadence that is almost musical. Mrs. Ellison, Master Green, Miss Harper. Each call is a summons to connection, and each response carries its own quiet significance. When a name is spoken, the person steps forward with a blend of anticipation and calm acceptance, their steps slow but deliberate. The exchange is deliberate, respectful, a letter handed over like a precious gift rather than mere paper. You watch as a young woman receives a small envelope, her fingers trembling slightly as she folds it close to her chest. Her eyes gleam with a mixture of relief and joy, as if the letter contains news from a beloved far away, a lifeline to a world beyond the village's borders. Nearby, an elderly man cradles a heavier parcel, a bundle tied with twine. His weathered hands linger over the wrapping before carefully untying it, revealing a letter and a photograph inside tokens of a son serving in distant lands. Every letter in this room carries a story, a silent narrative that pulses beneath the surface. Some bring smiles that bloom slowly, others a furrowed brow or a wistful sigh. Yet all share the common thread of anticipation, the collective holding of breath as the town listens to its own heartbeat echoed in these exchanged messages. This waiting is woven deeply into the fabric of life here, a delicate dance of patience and connection. Time in the letter room unfolds differently than elsewhere. It slows, inviting those present to step out of their hurried daily routines and enter a space where words are treasured and silence is filled with meaning. The rustle of paper, the soft murmur of names being called, and the gentle footsteps of the recipients create a subtle symphony, a meditation on human connection in its most tactile form. You find yourself reflecting on the contrast between this ritual and the world beyond the town's borders, where instant messages and fleeting notifications dominate. Here, the letter demands time, not just to be written and sent, but to be awaited and received. Each envelope is a capsule of hope and patience, carrying with it the echoes of the sender's hand, the pauses between sentences, and the care folded into every word. As you wait your turn, you watch a boy clutch a folded note tightly in his palm, his eyes fixed on the postmaster's face. Perhaps it is his first letter, or the response to one he sent weeks ago, filled with questions about a far-off relative or dreams of adventures yet to come. Beside him, a woman reads aloud softly to herself from a letter just received, her voice barely above a whisper, as if sharing a secret meant only for her ears. The postmaster's eyes meet yours for a moment, and you sense his understanding, the shared knowledge that this room is more than a place of transactions. It is a refuge where time is held gently, where the act of waiting becomes an opportunity to pause and listen, not only to the words on the page, but to the quiet conversations between people. The ritual itself binds the community, creating a tapestry of trust and belonging woven through daily acts of patience. When your name is finally called, you step forward with a heart quietly pounding. The letter you receive is light but heavy with meaning, and you hold it as if cradling a piece of someone's soul. You fold it carefully into your coat, feeling the weight of connection wrap around you. In this moment, the letter room transforms into a sanctuary of shared humanity, where waiting is not empty, but filled with the rich texture of presence. You linger a moment longer, watching the line continue to move with its gentle rhythm. Faces glow in the warm lamplight, each person touched by the slow grace of this timeless ritual. The letter room is a place where patience blooms like a quiet flower, and waiting becomes a celebration, a sacred space where time unfolds not as a hurried march, but as a gentle unfolding of lives intertwined by words. Care, an enduring hope. As you step back out into the evening air, the world feels a little softer, slower, more tender. The letter room's quiet magic lingers with you, a reminder that even in waiting, there is life full, deep, and shared. In the quiet corner of the town's workshop, where the scent of fresh parchment mingles with the faint aroma of beeswax and ink, you find yourself drawn into a world where patience and craftsmanship intertwine. This is the place where letters are not just written, they are carefully crafted, folded, sealed, and sent as vessels of thought and emotion. Each stroke of ink and each crease of paper carrying a weight far beyond its modest size. The wooden writing desk is worn smooth by years of use. A quill rests in an inkwell, poised for the careful dance it will soon perform across the page. Beside it, stacks of paper lie neatly arranged, some freshly cut, crisp and white, others slightly yellowed with age, waiting to be reused or preserved as keepsakes. The light here is soft, filtered through a small window that casts gentle beams onto the desk, illuminating the delicate artistry of each letter's creation. You watch as a hand reaches for the quill, dipping it lightly into the black ink. The first strokes are tentative, yet deliberate, each letter shaped with care, as if the writer understands that words are more than mere communication. They are a bridge spanning distance and time. The ink flows slowly, the quill scratching softly against the paper, leaving behind a trail of thought made visible. This is not a hurried scrawl, but a measured composition, a quiet meditation brought to life with patience and intention. When the letter is complete, the page is folded with practiced precision. Each fold forms sharp, neat edges, sealing not only the paper, but the emotions held within. The folded letter becomes a small, intimate package, a private message destined to journey safely across both miles and moments. But the process isn't finished yet. The final touch, the wax seal, adds both beauty and security. Nearby, a small candle flickers, its flame warming a tiny spoon holding molten wax. The deep red wax drips onto the folded letter, pooling briefly before a seal is pressed firmly into it. This imprint, often a family crest or personal emblem, leaves a raised mark, a fingerprint of identity and care. The seal secures the letter, protecting its contents and signaling that it was sent with deliberate thought and respect. This ritual of folding and sealing is more than a practical step. It is a slow form of communication, where writing becomes a shared journey between sender and receiver. Each letter carries not just words, but the writer's breath, the pauses between sentences, and a careful choice of paper and ink. Waiting for such a letter teaches patience, as each day brings the hope of opening a small window into another life. You imagine the hands that will receive this letter, fingers gently breaking the wax seal, unfolding the paper to discover carefully penned thoughts. Reading becomes a quiet, intimate conversation stretched across time and distance, where anticipation deepens the bond between sender and receiver. Around you, the workshop hums softly with quiet energy. On every desk lie letters at various stages, some blank sheets waiting for ink, others drying with freshly written words. Nearby, a small pile of sealed letters rests, their glossy wax seals bearing the silent signature of care, connection, and affection. Each letter carries a weight beyond its physical form. You can almost feel the breath of the writers lingering on the pages, the quiet moments spent gathering thoughts, the pauses as emotions found their place between lines. The folded paper holds not just ink, but fragments of lives' hopes whispered in solitude, confessions made in silence, promises sealed tight beneath wax that soon will be broken by waiting hands. The very air seems to pulse with these connections, vibrating with the stories told and retold, woven through time and distance. In the quiet of the workshop, you reflect on how this careful ritual of letter writing stands in sharp contrast to the hurried pace of today's communication. Now, messages flash across screens in seconds, often forgotten before the next alert demands attention. But here, every word is chosen with care, each fold and wax sealed pressed with intention and love. These letters are far more than mere carriers of information. They are tangible tokens of presence, physical expressions of patience, care, and the deep human need to be understood and remembered. This craft asks for time. Time to think, to write, to fold, to seal, and most importantly, time to wait. Within these walls, waiting transforms from a frustrating delay into a sacred part of connection. The moments between writing and receiving are filled with hope, longing, and anticipation, a precious stretch that deepens the bond between sender and receiver. Emotions rise and fall slowly, like a gentle tide, inviting reflection and appreciation. Each letter becomes a small miracle, a delicate bridge spanning distance and time, linking hearts in a way that rushed digital messages never can. Suddenly, the quiet creak of the workshop door draws your attention. A familiar messenger enters, carrying the day's letters bundled carefully like fragile treasures. Their movements are calm and purposeful as they stack the letters, ensuring every seal remains intact and every sheet pristine. The atmosphere feels solemn, as if the messenger holds not just paper, but the trust and hopes of everyone who has sent their words out into the world. You watch as the messenger steps into the fading light, ready to carry these tender messages far beyond the workshop's walls. This moment marks the end of one chapter and the start of another in the timeless story of connection and waiting. Soon, the silent letters will awaken with life, bringing comfort, joy, or solace to those who open them. As candlelight flickers, casting soft shadows across wooden desks and paper stacks, you feel a deep appreciation for the slow arts. Ink, wax, and folded paper are not just materials. They are vessels of patience, care, and enduring hope. In a world obsessed with speed, this quiet workshop reminds us that true connection grows from deliberate slowness and heartfelt intention. You step away, the warmth of the candlelight lingering on your skin, carrying with you a profound truth. Waiting, when honored and shared, transforms the ordinary into something extraordinary. It is here in the folds of paper and the press of a wax seal that the heart speaks loudest, revealing the true art of waiting. As the day softly fades into dusk, the warm golden light spills through the shop's windows, casting long, lazy shadows on the worn wooden floorboards. Outside, the narrow street is bathed in amber hues, the last rays of sunlight filtering through. The leaves of the tall elm trees that line the road. The air carries a faint scent of freshly cut linen, mixed with the earthy aroma of damp soil from a recent rain. It is the time when the tailor shop, tucked between the cobbler's and the bakery, begins to stir with quiet anticipation. Outside the door, a small but orderly queue has begun to form. Men and women, young and old, gather patiently, each holding a carefully folded piece of fabric or a worn garment in need of mending or measurement. Their faces are calm, their movements unhurried. There is no rush here. Only the gentle certainty that comes with knowing the tailor's craft is as much about patience as it is about skill. You notice the subtle rhythm of the queue, a steady flow as each person takes their place, shifting slightly with every call from within the shop. There is an unspoken respect in the way they stand, neither crowding nor stepping ahead, a shared understanding that good things take time. The fabric in their hands tells stories, a frayed sleeve from years of wear, a carefully preserved piece of lace passed down through generations, a patchwork quilt in need of delicate repair. Inside the shop, the tailor works with quiet concentration. The rhythmic snip of scissors cutting through linen, the gentle hum of a sewing needle pulling thread through fabric, and the soft swish of cloth being smoothed over the measuring table create a comforting soundtrack. Each sound seems to echo the slow, deliberate pace outside, mirroring the patience woven into the gathering crowd. A young man steps forward, presenting a faded jacket with threadbare elbows. The tailor takes the garment gently, running his fingers over the worn fabric before measuring carefully with his tape. His eyes, sharp yet kind, assess the best way to mend and restore without losing the jacket's character. As the man steps back into the queue, there is a quiet exchange of gratitude, a smile, a nod that feels like an unspoken promise that this moment, this act of waiting and mending, is something valued by both. The light outside dims further, softening into a dusky blue as lanterns flicker to life along the street. The glow spills through the tailor's window, mixing with the warm yellow of the oil lamp on his workbench. This gentle illumination highlights the textures of fabrics, the intricate patterns of embroidery, and the subtle wear on each piece brought in for care. It's a scene suspended in time, where the outside world's hurry feels miles away. Among those waiting, a woman cradles a delicate swatch of embroidered cloth, a handkerchief perhaps, or a precious piece of heirloom fabric. She fingers the edges tenderly, lost in thought as if each stitch carries a memory. She watches the tailor as he works, and you sense the quiet reassurance she finds in this ritual, the knowledge that this skilled hands will breathe new life into what she holds dear. The queue moves slowly, each person given careful attention. Occasionally, soft conversation drifts through the air, comments about the weather, updates on neighbors, or quiet appreciation for the tailor's artistry. These exchanges are gentle threads weaving the community closer together, small moments of connection that transform waiting into a shared experience rather than mere delay. You observe how the act of waiting here is not marked by impatience or frustration, but by a kind of reverence. It is as if the passing of time itself is a gift, a chance to slow down and engage with the tangible, textured world of cloth and thread. The tailor shop becomes a sanctuary where the art of patience is practiced daily, where the simple acts of measuring and mending carry deep meaning. Outside, a street gradually darkens, the elm trees now casting deep shadows on the cobblestones. The soft flicker of lanterns blends with the first stars appearing in the twilight sky. The quiet footsteps of the queue create a soft murmur, a rhythm that mirrors the beating heart of the town itself. A small boy gently tugs on his mother's sleeve, clutching a worn patch of cloth that needs sewing. She kneels beside him, smoothing his hair back with a tender touch, whispering quiet words of encouragement as they patiently wait their turn. In this simple moment, the child learns the value of patience, not through hurried lessons, but through the calm act of waiting. It feels like a gentle passing of tradition, a quiet transfer of the town's enduring wisdom from one generation to the next as evening deepens. The tailor works diligently inside, carefully folding the finished garments with practiced hands. Each piece is wrapped delicately in soft cloth, ready to be returned to its owner. These packages hold more than just fabric. They carry hours of skill, attention, and care woven into every stitch. The people who come to collect their mended clothing leave with light steps and grateful smiles, stepping out into the cool, unfolding night with a renewed sense of comfort and pride in their repaired garments. Standing outside the tailor shop, you realize this line is far more than a mere queuet. It is a living ritual, a shared moment that slows time itself. In the stillness and quiet patience of waiting, the true beauty of community reveals itself in the folds of fabric, in the soft exchanges of thanks, and in the unspoken connections formed through this simple act. Waiting here is not a burden, but a grace, a delicate dance that brings people together beneath the fading light of dusk as you step away from the shop. The faint scent of linen mingles with the warm glow of oil lamps lingering in the evening air. You carry with you a deep sense of belonging, a reminder that sometimes the most profound connections aren't just sewn with thread, but are crafted through the slow, patient rhythm of waiting together moments that stitch hearts as surely as the tailor's needle mends fabric. Stepping inside the tailor's workshop, you are immediately enveloped in a quiet world of subtle sounds and textures. The air carries the gentle rustling of fabric, the soft clatter of wooden spools, and the occasional faint snip of scissors cutting through cloth. Neatly arranged bolts of fabric line the walls: wool, linen, cotton, and silks of varied hues and weights, each piece folded with care and waiting patiently for its turn to be shaped and transformed. The warm glow of oil lamps casts a honeyed light across the room, highlighting the fine dust motes floating lazily in the still air. The smell here is unique, a comforting blend of fresh linen, beeswax, and faint traces of leather from the tailor's tools. Beeswax, once softened by careful heating, is used to strengthen and smooth threads, making them easier to pull through tough fabric. The scent reminds you of the quiet rituals behind each stitch, the care taken not just in the finished garment, but in every small step along the way. At the center of this calm space is the tailor himself, a figure of quiet focus. His hands move with the steady grace of a craftsman who has honed his skill over many years. The needle slides rhythmically in and out of fabric, pulling thread taut with each careful pass. Wool, thick and coarse, offers a different challenge than the smoothness of cotton or the delicate weave of silk, but the tailor meets each fabric with equal respect and precision. There is no rush here. Each stitch is deliberate, measured, and necessary, like a slow, gentle pulse keeping time with the heartbeat of the workshop. The rhythmic sewing is almost hypnotic. You watch as the tailor's fingers expertly guide the needle through fabric, pulling thread tight to mend a torn seam or secure a hem. Occasionally, the tailor pauses to adjust a garment on the wooden form, smoothing wrinkles with a practiced hand or clipping a stray thread. Each movement is part of a dance, a quiet choreography that unfolds with patience and care. Surrounding the tailor, the workshop is alive with stillness. Time itself seems to slow here, the busy noise of the outside world fading into a distant murmur. The soft clinking of scissors, the faint creak of wooden chairs, and the low hum of steady breathing form a gentle symphony of presence. The workshop is a sanctuary, a place where worn and tattered garments find renewal, and where the act of sewing becomes a meditation. You take a moment to observe the various pieces in progress. A woolen cloak rests on a chair, its edges freshly hemmed and waiting to be returned to its owner. Nearby, a cotton dress lies folded, the tiny stitches along the bodice almost invisible to the untrained eye. Each piece carries the story of a life, a child's favorite jacket patched after a summer of adventures, a woman's gown carefully mended in preparation for a festival, a man's work shirt strengthened to endure another season in the fields. Process of repair here feels almost sacred. In a world moving ever faster, this workshop offers a pause, an invitation to slow down and honor the value of things made to last. The tailor's work is a testament to the idea that patience and attention to detail can transform not just cloth, but lives. As the needle pierces fabric again and again, you sense the quiet resilience stitched into every seam. Outside the window, the fading light of dusk casts long shadows across the wooden floorboards. The sky shifts from soft pinks to deepening blues, and the gentle glow of the oil lamps inside grows warmer, wrapping the room in a cocoon of amber light. The tailor's tools, scissors, thimbles, pins, and measuring tapes lie arranged with care on the work table, each one essential to the craft. Their worn surfaces tell stories of countless repairs and creations dot in this quiet space. The concept of waiting is redefined. It is not a passive experience, but an active, reverent embrace of slowness and care. The customers waiting outside the shop, their footsteps soft against the cobblestones, understand this unwritten truth. They are part of a ritual that honors patience as a form of respect, both for the work being done and for the hands that do it. You imagine the conversations that must pass quietly in the waiting line, soft exchanges about the day's news, the weather, or a shared anticipation for a finished garment. In these moments, waiting is a communal act, a weaving together of lives as tangible as the threads in the fabrics. It is a time to observe, to breathe, and to connect in ways the hurried world outside often denies. The tailor's workshop, with its quiet sounds and slow rhythms, offers more than repairs. It provides a space for reflection. Here, the measured pace of needle and thread encourages a different relationship to time, one that honors endurance, patience, and the beauty found in slow, deliberate action. The slow unfolding of each stitch is a reminder that some things require time to become whole again. Whether it is a garment or a community dot, as evening deepens, the tailor carefully folds finished garments, wrapping them in soft cloth and placing them in neat piles, ready to be returned to their owners. Each bundle carries not only fabric, but the invisible weight of care, skill, and dedication. You watch as the customers arrive to collect their mended clothes, their faces brightening with gratitude. There is a shared understanding in their smiles, an appreciation for the craft, and the gentle rhythm of waiting that brought their garments back to life. Stepping back, you breathe in the scent of linen and beeswax once more, feeling the calm stillness seep into your own rhythm. This place, with its threads and fabrics, its slow stitching and quiet patience, reveals a deeper truth about connection. Beyond the tangible repairs, the workshop is a metaphor for life itself, fragile yet resilient, worn but capable of renewal. In this space, waiting becomes grace. It is a gentle dance, a silent celebration of care and community that unfolds stitch by stitch. And as you leave the tailor's shop, the soft rustle of fabric and the fading glow of oil lamps linger with you, a reminder that some of the most profound moments are sown quietly, in stillness and patience, where time slows and the threads of life intertwine. As you approach the bookbindery, the air carries a distinct scent, a rich blend of leather, wood, and the faint, sweet aroma of glue and varnish. The small shop stands nestled between the worn brick walls of the street, its windows glowing softly with the warm light of oil lamps inside. The door, heavy and wooden, swings open with a quiet creak as you step inside, greeted by a hush that feels like the calm breath of a sacred space. The room is filled with rows of books in various stages of completion. Some sit stacked neatly. On shelves, their covers polished and titles stamped in gold leaf, reflecting the flickering lamp light. Others lie open on work tables, revealing delicate pages stitched together by hand, their edges still rough but promising the promise of a finished volume soon to come. The smell of fresh parchment mingles with the earthiness of leather bindings, creating an atmosphere thick with history and care. A soft murmur of voices and gentle footsteps blends with the occasional sound of a hammer tapping leather against wood, the steady rhythm echoing through the quiet workshop. This is a place where patience reigns supreme, where the slow craft of bookbinding transforms fragile pages into lasting vessels of knowledge and memory. You notice a small line forming near the counter, townsfolk patiently waiting to collect their newly bound books. There is no pushing or impatient sighs here. Instead, a shared understanding that each book carries with it the time and skill of the artisan who crafted it. As you join the queue, you feel the collective hush of anticipation, the gentle respect for the slow unfolding of a laborious art dot behind the counter. The bookbinder moves with a careful grace. His hands are weathered but steady, a testament to years spent threading needles, folding pages, and smoothing leather. Each book is a unique project, demanding attention to detail and a reverence for the stories contained within. The bookbinder's fingers work quickly yet deliberately, applying glue with precision, pressing pages firmly. and smoothing covers with a practiced touch. The process is mesmerizing. You watch as he fits a freshly sewn book block into its leather cover, gently pressing the spine to ensure it will open smoothly without cracking. The sound of the hammer on the binding board punctuates the silence, each tap a heartbeat in the slow rhythm of creation. With each step, the book moves closer to its final form, ready to carry the tales, knowledge, or poems it holds to eager readers. Waiting in this line, you feel a deep connection to the books and their makers. Each person in front of you carries a story, perhaps a treasured family heirloom being restored, a new volume eagerly anticipated, or a collection of letters bound for safekeeping. The wait is part of the ritual, a time to appreciate the value of what is being received. It's a pause that invites reflection on the importance of preserving knowledge and beauty in a world that often rushes past too quickly. Nearby, you overhear soft exchanges between the bookbinder and customers, a question about the type of leather, a discussion of the best way to protect delicate pages, or a shared story about a favorite book. These quiet moments weave a tapestry of trust and respect, reinforcing the bond between craftsmen and community. It becomes clear that waiting here is more than just passing time. It is participating in a tradition of care and connection. The shop itself feels timeless. Shelves are lined with tools of the trade-all: needles, bone folders, wax threads, and jars of leather dye. A large, worn workbench sits at the center, scarred from years of use, but still sturdy and welcoming. The window offers a glimpse of the fading daylight outside, where the street quiets as evening descends. Inside, the warm glow of lamps and the steady hum of activity create a sanctuary from the rush beyond the door. As you stand in line, your thoughts drift to the history bound within these walls. Bookbinding is an ancient craft, a sacred task that has preserved the words of generations. Each book handled here carries the weight of stories told and retold, wisdom passed down, and memories kept alive. The slow, deliberate work done in this quiet workshop is a reminder that patience and care can transform the fragile into the enduring. Finally, it is your turn. You step forward, the bookbinder greeting you with a nod of welcome. He carefully hands you a newly bound volume, its leather soft and warm to the touch, the pages crisp but inviting. As you accept it, you feel the weight of the hours of work, the skill and patience folded into every corner and stitch. Holding the book close, you sense the continuation of a long tradition, the slow, reverent act of creating something meant to last beyond a single lifetime. The bookbinder's craft transforms simple materials into a treasure, and the act of waiting here becomes a meditation on time, art, and the quiet joys found in deliberate patience. Stepping out of the shop, the cool evening air fills your lungs, and you hold the book close, feeling its comforting weight. The rich scent of leather and aged paper lingers around you, a fragrant echo of the quiet space where time seemed to slow and every detail was crafted with care. Waiting at the Bookbindery was never just about collecting a finished book. It was a way to honor the countless unseen hours, the delicate craftsmanship, and the human touch that transforms simple pages into timeless treasures. This slow, thoughtful ritual of waiting teaches a profound lesson. By pausing and giving our attention, we protect not just physical objects, but the deeper connections and memories they carry. In a world that often rushes, here is a place where patience and reverence turn creation into art, and waiting becomes an act of appreciation. As you walk away into the evening, the weight of the book in your hands reminds you that some of the most precious gifts in life arrive not hurriedly, but slowly stitched, bound, and treasured like the carefully preserved pages of a beloved book, holding stories that endure through time. The afternoon sun casts a warm golden light over the sleepy town, bathing the narrow streets in a soft amber glow. Outside the humble tea merchant's shop, a quiet queue begins to form, a gentle procession rather than a hurried line. The air carries the delicate fragrance of dried tea leaves, mingled with hints of herbs and flowers, inviting passers-by to pause, breathe deeply, and savor the moment. The scent seems to wrap around the people standing in line like a comforting embrace, connecting them through a shared sensory experience that transcends words. Each person in the queue moves with a calm patience, their gaze drifting toward the neatly arranged packages behind the counter. These packets promise more than mere tea. They represent tradition, comfort, and a connection to the simpler, slower pleasures of life. The shopkeeper, an elderly man with hands worn soft from years of careful work, moves deliberately as he scoops fragrant leaves and herbs into thin, fragile paper wraps. His motions are slow, precise, and graceful, reflecting the reverence he holds for this age-old craft and the people he serves. Inside the shop, the afternoon light filters through the windows, casting dappled shadows that dance across the wooden floorboards. The soft rustle of paper, the gentle snap of string being tied, and the quiet murmur of conversation mingle to create a soothing symphony. This soundscape, subtle yet rich, echoes the rhythm of waiting and shared presence. People exchange kind smiles, brief remarks about the weather, or stories about the latest harvest. These small interactions weave a fabric of community and belonging, transforming what might seem a mundane wait into a moment charged with warmth and human connection. Among the customers, you notice an elderly woman clutching a packet of fragrant green tea close to her chest. Her eyes close briefly, as if transported back to memories steeped in sunlight and laughter. Nearby, a young man studies a bundle of dried rose petals with care, his fingers tracing the edges of the delicate paper as though touching something sacred. A child tugs gently at her mother's hand, wide-eyed and fascinated by the colorful tins and glass jars lining the shelves, their surfaces sparkling like tiny treasures in the mellow afternoon light. The ritual unfolds with unhurried grace. Each customer receives their carefully measured portion of tea, the soft crackle of paper and the tightening of string, punctuating the silence with tender rhythms. The shopkeeper offers a warm smile to each person, a silent acknowledgement of the shared respect for the slow unfolding of time. Here, impatience is foreign, replaced instead by a communal reverence for waiting as a quiet act of mindfulness and appreciation. As you stand among them, you sense the profound significance of this gentle ritual. Waiting together in this way becomes a sacred act, a tribute to the simple yet profound pleasures that nourish the soul. The tea leaves, like the moments spent in this peaceful queue, carry stories of the earth, of seasons past, and of hands that have tended the plants with care. They hold promises of warmth, comfort, and calm, offered to those willing to wait and receive with gratitude. The afternoon light softens further as the sun begins its slow descent. The line moves steadily but unhurriedly, each person savoring the pause, the shared presence. Conversations drift effortlessly from topic to topic: the best brewing techniques, favorite blends, the medicinal qualities of herbs. You overhear someone recommending chamomile for restful sleep, while another praises the invigorating effect of mint. These exchanges deepen the sense of community, making waiting feel less like an obligation and more like an opportunity for connection and learning. You finally reach the counter. The shopkeeper carefully measures out a fragrant blend of jasmine tea, folding the delicate leaves into thin, translucent paper and tying it with a neat string. The scent rises immediately, a fragrant promise of calm moments to come. You accept the package with a gentle nod and a smile, feeling the weight of tradition and care in your hands. Stepping outside, you inhale the fragrant aroma deeply, letting it settle around you like a warm cloak. The afternoon light glows softer now, bathing the streets in a mellow golden hue. You walk slowly away from the shop, the packet of tea cradled gently as if holding a treasure. The quiet rhythm of the queue, and the gentle cadence of the shopkeepers. Movements linger in your mind, a soothing balm to the hurried pace of modern life. In this quiet moment, you come to understand that waiting, when met with patience and full awareness, is much more than a mere pause. It becomes an act of grace. It's a shared ritual, a silent pact among those gathered to slow the relentless pace of life and truly savor the small, often overlooked joys that give each day its deeper meaning. The tea leaves in your hands symbolize far more than just a comforting drink. They embody the spirit of a community woven together through kindness, respect, and the gentle art of waiting. As you step away from the tea merchant's shop, the delicate scent of the tea clings softly to the air, trailing behind you like a fragrant reminder of this moment's significance. It whispers that some of life's richest gifts arrive slowly unfolding in the quiet spaces between activity, wrapped tenderly in moments of stillness and shared humanity. This simple ritual of waiting, once lost in the noise of a hurried world, reveals itself here as a sacred practice that nurtures connection and presence. Walking down the sunlit street, you feel the weight of the day's rush begin to lift. The afternoon's unhurried pace has carved out a small sanctuary, a refuge from the chaos beyond the town's borders. Time seems to soften and stretch, inviting you to breathe more deeply, to be more present. Connections with those around you deepen not through words alone, but through the shared experience of patient waiting, the quiet smiles exchanged, a subtle acknowledgement that you are part of something larger. In this slow, gentle moment, waiting transforms into a quiet celebration of life itself, a reminder that sometimes, to truly connect and to truly live, we need only to slow down, embrace stillness, and savor the simple beauty of being together. The watchmaker's shop sits quietly on a narrow street, its wooden sign gently swaying with the evening breeze. Inside, the air hums softly with the ticking and talking of countless clocks, each one marking time in its own measured beat. Outside, a line of townsfolk forms patiently, each person clutching a pocket watch, a cherished heirloom, or a simple clock in need of careful repair. The waiting here is unlike any other here. Time itself seems to slow and stretch, folding softly around the people who stand together, united by their shared trust in the watchmaker's skilled hands. As you join the queue, you notice how the waiting transforms from a mere pause into a profound meditation on time's nature. Each person in line holds their timepiece with reverence, aware that these devices are not just machines, but keepers of memory, markers of moments both ordinary and extraordinary. The old grandfather clock in the shop window chimes softly, its deep notes echoing like a heartbeat, reminding everyone present that time is both relentless and tender, a constant companion, never truly still. The watchmaker himself is a figure of quiet concentration. His hands, steady and sure, move with deliberate grace as he opens tiny cases, adjusts delicate gears, and oils minute springs. His craft is slow, requiring patience, precision, and care, the very qualities reflected in the line waiting outside. Watching him work is like witnessing a dance where every motion counts, every second matters, and the rhythms of life are measured in clicks and whirs. Outside, the people wait in harmony. There is no impatience, no hurried footsteps or muttered complaints. Instead, there is a shared understanding that this is not just a repair shop, but a place where time is honored, where the passing moments become a space for reflection and connection. A child holds a small watch handed down from her grandfather, her fingers tracing the worn metal casing with wonder. Nearby, an elderly man adjusts his cap and smiles softly at the gentle ticking that fills the air, memories flickering behind. His eyes like the flicker of candlelight. You sense that waiting in this line is an active engagement with time, a practice of slowing down to appreciate the fragile beauty of moments that often slip unnoticed through the rush of everyday life. Each person stands not merely to have their watch fixed, but to participate in a ritual that respects the slow unfolding of life itself. The tick-tock around you becomes a comforting melody, a lullaby that invites patience and presence. As the Mia's sun dips lower, casting long shadows across the cobblestones, the watchmaker steps outside briefly to greet those waiting. His eyes twinkle with kindness and recognition, acknowledging the silent pact between craftsman and community. It is a reminder that time, though measured in seconds and minutes, is ultimately shaped by human hands and hearts, by the willingness to wait, to nurture, and to cherish. You notice how the act of waiting changes the atmosphere around you. Conversations spark gently, stories shared about lost time and found moments. A man recalls how his father's pocket watch once stopped during a summer storm, only to start ticking again years later. A woman speaks softly about how she treasures the clock that marked her wedding day, now quiet but still radiant with memory. These exchanges weave an invisible thread between strangers, binding them through the shared reverence for time's passage. Finally, your turn arrives. You step forward with your own watch, a modest piece that has seen many years and many miles. The watchmaker takes it with care, inspecting its face and hands under a magnifying glass. He nods thoughtfully, his fingers beginning their meticulous work. As you watch, you feel a quiet gratitude for the slow, steady passage of time, for the patient hands that honor it, and for this small community bound together by waiting. The waiting here at the watchmaker's is a gentle reminder that time is not just something to be counted or conquered, but something to be lived slowly, fully, with awareness and care. It is a precious resource that flows best when respected, when given space to unfold naturally. The line outside the shop is not a barrier, but a bridge, a passage into a deeper understanding of life's rhythms, where waiting is not lost time, but a vital part of the journey. As dusk deepens and the final traces of sunlight slip away, the watchmaker's shop begins to glow softly, its windows casting a warm, inviting light onto the quiet street. Inside, the steady ticking of countless clocks fills the air, a rhythmic, comforting sound that carries with it a sense of hope, continuity, and the gentle passage of time. The people who have waited patiently throughout the day start to gather, their belongings, their repaired timepieces safely secured in their hands or pockets. But what they carry with them is more than just fixed watches. It's the feeling of having shared a unique, almost sacred moment, a pause in the relentless rush of life, a collective breath of grace. You step away from the watchmaker's shop, feeling the gentle weight of the day's slow unfolding settle softly around you. What once felt like time slipping away in urgency now takes on the warmth of a trusted old friend, steady, compassionate, and generously patient. The line outside the watchmaker's isn't merely about fixing tiny gears or mending broken watches. It is a quiet sanctuary, a sacred space where patience is practiced and life's deeper rhythms are quietly honored. In this humble ritual of waiting, you uncover a profound truth. The most meaningful moments often don't come from rushing toward what's next, but from standing still in the present. It is in these pauses, those deep breaths taken between heartbeats, that time reveals its true essence. Time becomes a slow, unfolding beauty, inviting you to live fully, with intention and grace. Here, in the stillness of the watchmaker's line, time is not something lost or wasted. Instead, it has discovered anew a gentle reminder that the richness of life is found in patience, in presence, and in the quiet moments where we allow ourselves simply to be. This small, unhurried space teaches that sometimes waiting itself is the most precious gift. Time is often thought of as a rigid, relentless force, something that moves forward without pause, sweeping people along in its ceaseless current. Yet in moments of patient waiting, especially in places like this small town with its gentle rhythms, time reveals itself in a far more nuanced, delicate way. Here, time is not an external driver, but something crafted and experienced deeply by those who choose to slow down and observe it with intention. The slow, steady turning of clock hands is more than just a measure of passing seconds. It becomes a visible metaphor for the unfolding of life itself, layered, textured, and full of subtle shifts. You watch the pendulum swing back and forth inside the watchmaker's shop, each tick a gentle reminder that time is a presence to be lived with, not merely a resource to be managed or hurried through. In this quiet space, time feels almost tangible, like a soft fabric woven through every interaction and gesture. Each moment of waiting is not wasted, but transformed into a thread that adds to the richness of the whole. The rhythmic ticking becomes a lullaby for the soul, inviting calm and reflection rather than urgency. You begin to sense how the people around you relate to time in a profoundly different way than thence. In the modern world, there is no frantic checking of watches or impatient glances at clocks here. Instead, there is a collective attunement to the present, an unspoken understanding that each tick, each movement of the clock hands, is part of a larger dance, a slow unfolding that connects the past, present, and future in a seamless flow. In the hands of the watchmaker, time takes on a new meaning. He works carefully, repairing tiny gears and springs with focused attention, restoring not just the mechanisms, but the very heartbeat of each timepiece. His hands move with practiced grace, coaxing life back into dormant watches, each repair a quiet act of reverence for time's mysteries. Around you, the murmurs of conversation blend with the ticking, forming a gentle chorus that celebrates the human relationship with time. People share stories of moments caught and remembered, of the ways waiting has taught them patience, resilience, and hope. It's a community bound together, not just by proximity, but by their shared experience of time as a living, breathing entity. You reflect on how this perception contrasts with the rushed, fragmented experience common in today's world, where time is often reduced to a series of deadlines and appointments. Here, time is generous. It allows space for pauses, for breath, for connection. Waiting is not a barrier to be overcome, but an invitation to enter more fully into the flow of life. The clock hands, turning slowly but surely, mirror this philosophy. They remind you that life is not about speed, but about the quality of each passing moment. Like the careful repairs taking place within the shop, living well requires patience and attention to detail. Each second holds potential. Each tick offers an opportunity to be present, to listen, to learn. You notice the older residents who have lived through many seasons of this town. Their faces carry the wisdom of time's slow unfolding. They know, well, that rushing through life often means missing its quiet treasures, the unspoken smiles, the shared silences, the gentle rhythms that sustain the heart. For them, waiting is a familiar friend, a space where memories are cherished and new hopes take root. Children watch with wide eyes as their parents and elders interact with the watchmaker, absorbing the lessons woven into these moments of waiting. They learn that time is more than a concept. It is a lived experience, shaped by patience, respect, and the willingness to be present. Outside the shop, the shadows lengthen as the sun dips lower, casting a golden glow that seems to slow even the light itself. The town breathes with a steady calm, each household preparing for the evening, each street carrying the soft echoes of the day's gentle passage. Time here feels like a river flowing steadily, but without harsh currents, a place to float and observe rather than struggle against in this unfolding of time. You discover a powerful truth. Time is not something that happens to us, but something we participate in. By embracing waiting, by honoring the slow movements of the clock hands, we reclaim a deeper connection to life's natural rhythms. The watchmaker closes his tools for the day, the last ticks echoing softly in the room. The repaired watches are carefully returned to their owners, who take them with quiet gratitude. But more than the watches, They carry away a renewed sense of time's gentle presence, an awareness that in slowing down, they have found something precious, the art of truly living dot as you step into the cool evening air, the sky awash with the soft colors of twilight. A new understanding settles within you. Time is not a harsh master to be rushed or feared, but rather a gentle companion that walks beside you patiently. The steady turning of the clock hands serves as a quiet invitation to slow down, to savor each unfolding moment, and to discover the grace hidden within the simple act of waiting dot in a world that often seems overwhelmed by haste and urgency. This small town offers a rare and precious reminder. The true gift of time lies not in how quickly it passes, but in how deeply it is felt and embraced. Time's unfolding is not a blur of hurried events, but a carefully written story, each moment of waiting a deliberate, thoughtful sentence that adds meaning and texture to life. As night falls softly around you, you find yourself aligning with this slower rhythm, realizing that the fullness of life is not measured by speed or constant motion, but by the quiet dance of presence and patience. In this gentle unfolding, life reveals its richest colors, not in fleeting bursts, but in steady, mindful steps taken with intention and heart. This is the art of living well, embracing time as a friend and waiting as a gift. As evening gently descends upon the town, the fading daylight casts long, languid shadows that stretch and curl softly across the uneven cobblestone streets. The sky gradually shifts from the pale blues of late afternoon into the deeper, richer hues of dusky purple and violet, signaling the slow, inevitable close of another day in this quiet, unhurried community. The air cools just slightly, carrying a faint whisper of evening breeze that rustles through the leaves of ancient trees, lining the pathways. Amid this tender twilight, a familiar figure emerges. The lamplighter begins his slow, deliberate journey through the heart of the town. His task, though seemingly simple and repetitive, holds a deeper meaning, a rich symbolism rooted in tradition. And care he is kindling the warm, inviting glow of oil lamps, one by one, transforming the darkening streets into gentle rivers of flickering light. Each lamp lit is more than just a source of illumination. It is a signal that the town is readying itself for rest, a beacon of comfort and safety that softens the encroaching night. Carrying a long wooden pole, its tip carefully cradling a small flame, the lamplighter moves with measured, purposeful steps. His rhythm is unhurried, almost meditative, embodying a peaceful patience that seems to echo the slow pulse of the town itself. As he reaches each lamp, he raises the pole gracefully and ignites the wick, coaxing it to life. The lamps respond, with a delicate flicker at first, then settle into a steady, golden flame that radiates a warm, soft light. This gentle illumination spills softly onto the rough stone walls of buildings, the doorsteps where a few lingering townsfolk sit or stand, and the faces of neighbors who pause their evening routines to watch the growing glow. The light invites everyone to breathe deeply, to slow down, and to simply be present in the moment. This nightly journey of the lamplighter is a ritual performed countless times, yet it never loses its quiet magic. There is a sacredness in this repetition, a comforting constancy in the way each lamp is lit in turn. Each flickering flame becomes a beacon of connection, weaving a luminous thread through the fabric of the town's evening, binding its people together with shared light. You watch as these tiny flames multiply, their soft glow stretching across streets and alleys, gently drawing neighbors closer, reminding them that they share this space and this time together. This procession of light becomes a collective exhale, a communal sigh of relief and calm after the busy day's bustle. Standing amidst this softly glowing scene, you sense the steady heartbeat of the town in the lamplighter's careful work. Each lamp is more than just a practical necessity. It is a symbol of transition and continuity. From the bright activity and noise of daytime to the quiet reflection and restfulness of night. The lamps mark the passage with a tender ceremony. Their light softens the hard edges of the world, quiets the clamor, and invites a slower, gentler pace. The once sharp outlines of buildings and pathways blur into warm pools of light and shadow, creating a serene atmosphere where the night's embrace feels safe and welcoming. In this evening ritual, you become acutely aware of the importance of small acts done with care and intention. The lamplighter's gentle lighting is never rushed or overlooked. It is a deliberate gesture that honors the natural rhythms of life. The simple act of lighting lamps transforms into a metaphor for how communities nurture one another through patient, thoughtful attention to detail and a willingness to slow down and cherish the present. You consider how rare such moments of quiet connection have become in the modern world, where the pace of life is often frantic and distractions abound. Here, the evening ritual offers a precious opportunity to reconnect not only with the natural cycles of day and night, but with each other. It serves as a reminder that light and warmth can arise from simple acts performed with love and mindfulness, and that these small gestures have the power to hold communities together. As the lamplighter continues his rounds, each newly lit lamp adds to the growing glow, transforming the town into a sanctuary of soft, welcoming illumination. The familiar scent of burning oil mingles with the crispness of the night air, grounding you more firmly in the present moment. The gentle flickering of the lamps mirrors the slow pulse of life, itself steady, comforting, and enduring. The rhythm is calming, a balm against the rush and noise that often define the outside world. Finally, the lamplighter reaches the last lamp on his carefully charted route. He pauses briefly, taking a moment to survey the softly lit streets that now glow warmly under the gentle flames. The quiet satisfaction of a job done well is evident in his slow, deliberate breath. Then, without haste, he steps away into this gathering darkness, leaving behind a town bathed in the warm, steady glow of hundreds of lamps. This soft illumination stands as a silent guardian, preparing the town to embrace the calm and rest of the coming night. You take a deep breath, feeling a profound sense of gratitude for this humble yet powerful ceremony. The lamps lit one by one remind you that even in darkness, there is always light, patient, steady, and full of grace. This gentle ritual offers a timeless lesson that sometimes the most meaningful way to connect, to care, and to find peace is to slow down and illuminate the world around us. One deliberate flame at a time. In this soft, glowing light, you find a comforting hope, a tender invitation to slow your own pace, to rest fully, and to be fully present. The evening lamps stand as silent witnesses to the beauty of waiting, the strength of community, and the enduring warmth that kindness can kindle, one flame at a time. They remind you that in the quiet flicker of oil lamps, there lies a deep and abiding grace that connects us all. As night deepens and the final hues of twilight slip away, the small town eases into its peaceful rhythm. The cobblestone streets, softened by gathering shadows, stretch quietly under the flickering glow of street lamps. Outside the bakery, lying forms residents patiently waiting for the last warm pie of the evening. There is no rush, no hurried shuffling or frustrated sighs. Instead, the queue moves with a quiet harmony, a silent agreement rooted in respect and shared anticipation. Each person stands calmly, aware of the simple pleasure about to be savored. This gentle waiting feels less like a chore and more like a moment of community, a soft, unhurried dance connecting neighbors in the fading light, where patience and kindness quietly blend into the night's calm embrace. Each person in the line carries a story, a grandmother hoping to bring a comforting treat home for her grandchildren, a young man savoring a quiet moment after a long day's work, a mother with tired eyes waiting to pick up something sweet for her family's evening meal. Their footsteps are slow, their conversations soft and few, punctuated only by quiet smiles and nods of acknowledgement. This line is a ritual, a small ceremony that honors patience as much as the pie itself. The baker inside works with care, pulling the last pie from the oven, its crust golden and steaming, the rich aroma wafting through the open door and out into the night air. It is more than just food. It is a symbol of comfort, community, and a gentle end to a day well spent. As each person's turn arrives, the pie is handed over with warmth and a kind word, a moment of connection that feels as nourishing as the food itself. Outside, the line stretches slowly forward, each person savoring the unhurried pace. The street is quiet except for the soft murmur of voices and the occasional laughter shared between neighbors. There is no rush because here, waiting is not a burden, but a shared experience that binds the community together. People watch the moon rising high, its silver light casting long shadows and lending a peaceful glow to the scene. You notice how different this is from the hurried waits of the modern world where impatient tapping on phones, hurried breaths, and anxious glances at clocks often dominate. Here, the passage of time is measured not by speed, but by presence. The gentle rhythm of the cue echoes the slow turning of the seasons. The steady heartbeat of the town itself. As the night grows deeper, a soft breeze stirs the leaves, carrying with it the faint scent of wood smoke and freshly baked bread. The town feels wrapped in a comforting embrace, a pause between the day's labors and the restful night ahead. The people in line move together in this stillness, a quiet community united by their shared patience and trust. The last pie changes hands, and the line slowly begins to dissolve as each person carries their small treasure homeward. Some pause to exchange a few words, while others simply nod goodbye, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of the street lamps. There is a serene satisfaction in the air, a collective sigh of contentment that comes from honoring the slow, gentle art of waiting. You stand for a moment, breathing in the night, feeling a deep gratitude for this glimpse into a way of life that seems almost forgotten. Here, in this small town, waiting is transformed. It is not just a pause or delay, but a ritual that enriches the soul. It teaches that time, when slowed and shared, can become a gift, a tender thread weaving together the lives and stories of many. As you turn to leave, the night's quiet settles deeply, feeling almost sacred. The line that never rushed has ended, but its lessons remain with you. In a world constantly rushing forward, this gentle evening serves as a reminder that true joy often lies in time's slow unfolding. It's found in the soft, unhurried steps, taken side by side, and in the shared warmth of patient hearts waiting together. These moments teach that embracing stillness and connection can bring a richness far beyond the haste of everyday life, leaving a lasting sense of peace and belonging. The street lamps flicker softly, casting a warm glow as the silent moon watches over the sleeping town. Wrapped in peaceful slumber, the town holds the memory of a line that moved with gentle grace, not hurried haste. This quiet moment serves as a reminder that even in darkness, patience shines as a guiding light leading everyone toward rest, renewal, and the hopeful promise of a new day. In this stillness, time slows, and the simple power of waiting reveals its quiet strength, offering comfort and connection beneath the calm night sky. As the night fully settles over the town, every sound softens and slowly fades into a gentle silence. The once steady line of waiting townsfolk has quietly dispersed. Shop doors close with a soft sigh, and the warm glow of lamps dims, casting the streets into a tender stillness. This stillness feels as though it has settled deep into the very heart of time, wrapping the town in a peaceful embrace. Waiting, often seen as empty or wasted moments, reveals itself here as something sacred. It becomes a quiet space where the mind can finally rest, where the frantic pace of the day dissolves, leaving room for calm, presence, and gentle reflection. In this pause, You sense the beauty of slowing down, of simply being. Now, it is your moment to do the same. Let your breath find a steady rhythm that matches the unhurried world around you. Invite sleep to come gently, like a soft line of waiting, peaceful, patient, and free from any rush or pressure. In this quiet, surrender to rest fully. Allow the night to unfold kindly, carrying you into dreams with ease. Just as the town finds peace in its slow, gentle rhythms, may your body and mind discover that same deep serenity. Good night, and may your sleep be deep and restorative.